Let's get started. Start with listening, and then learn new words and practice them in sentences.
Have you ever wondered how some people can effortlessly sway an audience, while others stumble with their words? Welcome to a fascinating exploration of the art of nuanced persuasion in English, a vital skill in high-level discussions, debates, and negotiations. We'll be delving into the mechanics of advanced rhetorical strategies and linguistic techniques often employed by successful influencers. The first of these is the clever use of rhetorical questions, subtly guiding your audience towards a desired conclusion without them even realizing it. Next, we'll explore the power of emotional appeal. By balancing cold, hard logic with heart-tugging emotion, you can craft arguments that are not only compelling, but also deeply resonant. Finally, we'll touch on the importance of cultural sensitivity and persuasion. In our increasingly global world, understanding and adapting to different cultural contexts can make all the difference in your persuasive efforts. Ready to unlock the secret to effective persuasion? Stay tuned. First up, the art of the rhetorical question. The rhetorical question, a seemingly simple yet remarkably powerful tool in the realm of persuasive English. But what exactly is a rhetorical question? It's a question posed not to solicit a direct answer, but rather to make a point, to stimulate thought, or to guide the listener towards a particular conclusion. Consider this example. Wouldn't you agree that this solution benefits everyone? Here, we're not asking for a yes or no answer. Instead, we're subtly leading the listener to consider the merits of the solution and, more importantly, nudging them towards the idea that it is indeed beneficial for all. But how does this work in a real-world context? Let's delve into a case study from the business world. Imagine a high-stakes negotiation over a potential merger. One party might pose the question, can we afford to let this opportunity slip through our fingers? They're not seeking an actual response. Rather, they're emphasizing the gravity of the situation and the potential loss if a decision isn't made promptly. However, a word of caution. Rhetorical questions are like a fine spice. Used sparingly and at the right moments, they can elevate your argument. Overused, they can come off as manipulative or even condescending. The trick is to weave them naturally into your discourse, using them to underscore key points and to gently steer the conversation in the direction you want. And remember, rhetorical questions can also serve as a means of engaging your audience, inviting them to reflect on the points you're making. A question like, what would it mean for our company's future if we implement this strategy? Can provoke thought and encourage active participation in the discussion. So, as we navigate the intricate terrain of nuanced persuasion, let's keep in mind the power of the rhetorical question. It's more than just a query. It's a tool for guiding, influencing, and stimulating thought. Rhetorical questions, when used effectively, can guide your audience to your desired conclusion. Isn't that an interesting thought? Next, let's tap into the power of emotional appeal. We often think of persuasion as a purely logical process, where the best argument, backed by the most facts, wins. But that's not always the case. Sometimes it's the tug at the heartstrings that sways the decision. That's the power of emotional appeal. So how do we strike a balance between logic and emotional appeal? It's like mixing the perfect cocktail. You need the right blend of ingredients to create something truly unforgettable. Too much logic and your argument may come off as dry and unrelatable, but lean too heavily on emotion and you risk appearing manipulative or insincere. Consider the phrase, imagine the impact this could have on. Doesn't it evoke a sense of possibility or concern? It's a simple phrase, yet it's powerful because it invites your audience to visualize a scenario. It stirs emotions, whether it's excitement, fear, or hope, making your argument more compelling. Let's take a real-world case study to illustrate this. In a formal presentation context, a company was pitching a new sustainability initiative. Instead of focusing solely on the facts, like the reduction of carbon emissions or the cost savings, they painted a vivid picture. They spoke about the joy of future generations playing in clean, green parks. They talked about the pride employees would feel, knowing their work was making a difference. They appealed to emotions of happiness, pride, and responsibility. And guess what? The initiative was approved. This isn't to say that logic isn't important. Facts and figures are crucial. They ground your argument in reality. But when you weave in emotional appeal, you connect with your audience on a deeper level. You're not just presenting an argument, you're telling a story. And stories, as we know, have the power to move people, to inspire action, to change minds. Remember, a dash of emotion can transform a logical argument into a compelling narrative. And that, my friends, is the power of emotional appeal. And finally, let's explore the importance of cultural sensitivity in persuasion. The art of persuasion isn't just about what you say, but also how you say it. This how can change significantly across different cultural contexts. But what exactly do we mean by cultural sensitivity? In essence, it's about understanding and respecting the values, customs, and communication styles of different cultures. For instance, in some cultures, directness is appreciated, while in others, subtlety and nuance are the norm. Similarly, the use of silence, body language, and even humor can vary widely. Adapting your persuasive techniques to these differences is crucial, particularly in a multinational setting. Let's take a look at a real-world example. Imagine you're part of a business negotiation involving partners from the United States, Japan, and Germany. The American team might prefer a direct approach, with clear, concise arguments and an emphasis on quick decision-making. The Japanese team, on the other hand, may value harmony and consensus, preferring indirect communication and paying attention to nonverbal cues. The German team could lean towards detailed, systematic arguments, valuing precision and thoroughness. In such a scenario, understanding these cultural nuances and adjusting your language and approach accordingly can make a significant difference. You might use direct, benefit-oriented arguments with the American team, employ subtlety, and seek consensus with the Japanese team, and present detailed, logical arguments to the German team. Remember, cultural sensitivity isn't about stereotyping or making assumptions. It's about being aware of potential differences and being flexible and respectful in your approach. In the example given, it's not that every American, Japanese, or German individual will respond exactly as described, but rather that these cultural tendencies can inform your persuasive strategy. Cultural sensitivity in persuasion doesn't only involve language, but also the framing of ideas, the choice of examples, and even the pace of speech. By being observant, adaptable, and respectful of cultural differences, you can enhance your persuasive abilities, making your arguments more effective and your interactions more successful. With cultural sensitivity, you can navigate any conversation or negotiation with ease and finesse. So, what have we learned today about nuanced persuasion techniques? We delved into the art of persuasion, highlighting the importance of rhetorical questions and subtlety in guiding your audience towards a desired conclusion. Think about it. Isn't it amazing how a simple question can shift the dynamics of a conversation? We also touched on the power of emotional appeal. By striking a balance between logic and emotion in your arguments, you can create a compelling narrative that resonates with your audience. Imagine the impact you could make with just the right words. And let's not forget about the role of cultural sensitivity in persuasion. We learned that understanding and adapting to different cultural contexts is crucial, especially in multinational settings. You can navigate complex conversations more effectively by being mindful of these cultural nuances. Remember, mastering nuanced persuasion techniques is an art, and with practice, you can become the master of your own conversations. Until next time.
Let's learn new words and practice English at level C2. Ethos. Ethos, the ethical appeal, meant to convince the audience of the author's credibility or character. Example, using ethos in persuasion involves presenting yourself as trustworthy and authoritative on the subject. Pathos. Pathos, an appeal to emotion, used to persuade the audience by creating an emotional response. Example, to sway the audience effectively, skilled speakers use pathos by telling compelling, relatable stories. Logos. Logos, an appeal to logic, persuading an audience with reason and facts. Example, when constructing a logical argument, it's essential to back your claims with statistics and credible evidence. Rhetorical devices. Rhetorical devices, techniques used by speakers to convey their message effectively. Example, skilled persuaders use rhetorical devices like metaphors, repetition, and rhetorical questions to strengthen their argument. Counterargument. Counterargument, an argument or set of reasons put forward to oppose an idea or theory. Example, a nuanced persuasion technique involves presenting a counterargument and then refuting it, making your stance appear stronger. Concession. Concession, acknowledging an opposing point, often to show fairness or balance in an argument. Example, making a concession to your opponent's point can enhance your credibility and soften resistance to your overall argument.